I finally got around to playing Bioshock in 2025 after this game had sat in my Steam library for a couple years, and this game is amazing and was way better than I expected. Now, that being said, it's not a flawless game, but it's very good for sure. I think the first thing I want to discuss in my review is the atmosphere of this game, as it's kind of the first thing you notice. This game is visibly very dark and creepy, and while it did wear off over time, it did a good job of setting in a light horror vibe and an unsettling feeling in the beginning, especially in rooms where there were next to no light. Mix that in with a dark story, ceiling crawling spider splicers that can drop down and attack you like a ninja, and uneasy environmental objects, like murdered corpses lying around. This game handled its horror elements well, being just a low-key, creepy game without going full horror. Oh, what is a splicer, by the way? I don't 100% understand their backstory, but they're the enemies of this game. Once humans, but now little more than zombies, after excessive amounts of chemicals/genetic re-engineering. Off the top of my head, you have the aforementioned spider splicers, who walk on ceilings and throw knives at you. Next, we have the thuggish splicers, I can't talk today, who rush you with melee weapons, leadhead splicers, who use guns, splicers that throw grenades, these are the most uncommon, and Houdini splicers, who use plasmids/special powers, and they all have armored variants. There are technically big daddies and various machines that are sort of enemies, depending on how technical you want to get. I'll discuss them briefly. But as far as the splicers go, they were either a mild annoyance or a serious threat, largely depending on the specific situation, how many there are, and whether or not you got the drop on them, which was rather uncommon with my playstyle. Okay, Big Daddies and the various machines. First off, why the name? Just why? I cringe at the name and feel weird saying Big Daddy. They have a couple variants, but overall are giant deadly machines that protect little sisters. More on them soon. Explosives were generally the best way to go about dealing with them, as they're absolute bullet sponges. But why do I not fully consider them an enemy? Well, because they're actually really docile and won't attack you. You have to strike first, which from their perspective makes you the enemy. Now, that being said, to be the quote good guy in the story, you do have to fight them to free the little sisters, but I thought this was an interesting perspective to mention. And finally, the various defensive machines of the game. Turrets, security robots, and security cameras, which send out robots when triggered. You can choose to destroy them or hack them and make them friendly. Hacking was always the better option, as A, ammo can be a little scarce at times, and B, the robots will defend you if you hack them, so there's no real point in destroying them. You can also hack vending machines to lower prices and unlock new purchasable items. You can hack safes to take whatever contents they hold. You can hack building stations to unlock more buildables. And finally, you can hack med stations to reduce the price of healing and make them damage splicers should they attempt to heal themselves. So yeah, this game has a ton of hacking. This game took me about 15 and a half hours to beat, and I guarantee you, at least an hour of that was spent hacking computers. Could be worse though, was better hacking than games like Crysis 3 or Deus Ex Human Revolution in my opinion. I almost always saved before I attempted to hack anything, as I'd sometimes fail and set off an alarm, or the machine would literally be unhackable. There just wouldn't be a way to solve it, which felt kinda dumb in my opinion. But if you fail, you can just reload your past save, get a new puzzle, and try again. You can also get upgrades to make hacking a bit easier, like giving you more time by slowing the fluid flow or removing bad tiles. But anyways, after discussing enemy variety, how about we go into a similar topic, combat. As you see, this is a first-person shooter, one with powers in it, and it was rather unique, although I do almost feel this game drew a little bit of influence from Quake 4. You have several weapons at your disposal: a shotgun, revolver, a melee wrench, a chemical thrower, a grenade launcher, a crossbow, and my favorite, the machine gun. Technically, this is a submachine gun, as it's very clearly a Thompson submachine gun, but that's beyond the point. Every gun has their own strengths and weaknesses and 3 different ammo types. The idea here is that you'd use different ammo against different enemy types, but that was too much for me to keep up with, so I almost always use standard ammo unless I was starting to run low. Then I'd either change weapons or use specialty ammo. And you can upgrade your weapons at upgrade stations hidden around the game. I mentioned this game has powers, or plasmids as they're called. I only really found the Fireball / Inferno and the Bee Swarm to be useful in combat, outside of shocking machines with the electric bolt so I could hack them, or occasionally electrocuting enemies in water, but it wasn't very effective other than that. You can either find or buy plasmids at Gatherer's Gardens, and there were plasmids outside of just weapons. You could decrease damage you receive, increase damage you deal with fire, assist you with stealth, etc. And plasmids are bought with Atom, harvested from Little Sisters. You can either let them live, but free them from their mental bondage and receive less Atom, or I have to be careful with YouTube censorship. You can be less merciful and receive more Atom, but if you let them live, you receive very helpful gifts from the sisters, and you get the good ending by freeing all the little sisters you find and not being non-merciful. And speaking of the ending, I guess we'll discuss the story here. No spoilers, but the game is very well written, with some very unexpected twists and turns, and I don't think I've ever seen anything like it in another game, to be 100% honest. While the story itself wasn't the greatest, the writing of it was genius. Graphically, I played this game on medium settings and it looks fine. The sound effects were good, the soundtrack was meh, and the game ran almost smooth as butter performance-wise with short load times, although I assume the console versions probably has at least slightly longer loading screens. Note that I said the game ran near flawless. I did notice that sometimes subtitles wouldn't display properly, like only popping up for half a second to cover 20 seconds of dialogue, and I really like the save system. Apart from 1 or 2 short sections, you can save anytime, anywhere, and I think Bioshock needed a save system like this to be successful. I don't think this title would have settled so well with a save at checkpoint system. Although I do wish this title was a bit shorter. It did start to get a little tiring after the 12-hour mark, but the ending was worth it. I think overall, with all this being said, I give Bioshock a 9.5 out of 10 by my grade scale. $5 well spent. I would like to note that the PC version doesn't have achievements, so maybe consider grabbing this game on console instead of Steam if you're an achievement hunter. Some similar games I'd suggest to Bioshock would be Singularity and maybe Jurassic the Hunted. That one's less sci-fi-ish, but you'd probably enjoy the gameplay anyways. Well, thanks for watching everybody. Hope somebody enjoyed my review. I do plan on reviewing Bioshock Infinite someday, as I have a copy of that game, but I think I need a little Bioshock break first. As I read, it's an even longer game. And for anybody new to my channel, I mostly play, review, and discuss zombie and horror games, so feel free to check out some of my other content if that maybe sounds interesting. Thanks again for watching. Hope everyone has a great day. God loves you all. Peace.
What's that, fella? You think I'm prettier than Garbo, huh?